Today's sponsor, Night Owl Cookies. Night Owl Cookies. Oh my God. It used to be crumble, but now we're on Night Owl Cookies. Look at this cookie. Look at this. Mm. And cookies are the devil. Don't do it. Don't do it, guys. Oh my God. So good. Happy Friday, everybody. Mm. Everybody have a nice, good Juneteenth. Was Juneteenth nice? You guys take off? Were you working? Did you go out? Did you go shopping? Did you rest? Did you treat yourself? Did you go to the spa? What'd you do? I'm nosy like that. I want to know. Anyway, guys, looks like I haven't been here in a couple. I felt like I haven't been here in a while. Oh my God! If I miss one day, I'm like, what's going on? I missed everything. I want to know what's going on with everybody. Everybody good? Everybody good? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Um, Bring a drink, bring a snack, bring a cookie, bring some popcorn, have fun. But anyway, let's get into it. So this Diddy trial has just been like all kind of shenanigans, right? Hasn't it been crazy? It's been like a lot of shenanigans. It's been suspense. It's been up. It's been down. I think everyone's like just kind of really divided. I think some people are like, he's guilty. I think some people are like, no, he's innocent. I think some people are like, they're rooting for a mistrial. I think some people are saying they're playing the race card. He's a black guy. And some people are like, no, it's domestic violence. No, it's just two people in a bad toxic relationship. It's the rugs. It's, oh my God, it's everything all mixed in one. What I am surprised is that we haven't heard or seen from KK. That's the one thing I was a little surprised that we haven't heard from her yet. Now, if the verdict comes in not guilty, I think KK just walks. So that's that, right? But if the verdict does come in guilty, then if the verdict does come in guilty, does that mean she's going to have her own case separate? That's a big roll of the dice. And I believe that Diddy's paying for her attorney. Her legal representative is part of Diddy's team. So she's loyal, man. She's like, did the crime, we're going to do the time. I'm going to go down with you and I'm not going to flip. And she didn't. So that was the one thing that I was, covering this since jury selection. That was the one person who I had thought maybe we would see or hear for or something. I did hear that Gina, even though witness number 3, Gina, she didn't testify. I did hear that she had a sworn statement that she presented to the court. However, we never heard it, right? They never opened it. They never read it. Oh, I forgot. Before we get started, let me share some comedy with you guys. They be trolling on this Instagram. They're so crazy.
Boy, you had Leonardo. I threw one little freak off with Meek Mill, Jennifer Lopez, and 3 Kardashians. Now I'm in here labeled a national threat. What freak off? Boy, you had Leonardo DiCaprio baptizing girls born in 2006 with Gatorade and baby oil. Boy, that was a hydration ritual. Ain't no law against electrolytes. Boy, the slip and slide had fentanyl warnings. The communion table caught fire. It was sponsored by Balenciaga. That was part of the aesthetic. Look outside. ICE protesting on one side, WW3 on the other, and we locked up over a freak off with midgets and some damn baby oil. What's wrong with midgets? Ain't nothing wrong with no damn midgets. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast all day.
Medea. Did they throw Medea in there? Poor Tyler Perry. Oh my God. Medea. No, they didn't. I did read the latest lawsuit against Tyler Perry allegedly on my last live. I did like 2 lives, my last 2 lives on that. So anyway, let's stay focused. It's so much going on. We got Fat Joe, R. Kelly, Tyler Perry, the Diddy trial. It's too much going on. It's this public lynching. It's like the humiliation ritual season. It's like Cat Williams said, 2025 is the humiliation ritual that men of color are gonna have to go through. Allegedly, that's what it feels. That's the energy that I feel like. You know me and energy. I got my eucalyptus, you know, spray. It is get crazy. I just keep it away, right? Keep all that over there. But anyway, so the prosecution rested their case today. I think they ended with Brandon, who was the rug mule. The defense said they have no witnesses. That the defense said they're gonna close in 2 days, and they have no witnesses. But Judge Arun was not playing. He was upset. I think he's been fair all along. He's been pretty fair. He really hasn't been biased. He'll do it, a little bit for the defense, a little bit for the prosecution. The only thing he didn't like when Diddy was, eyeing up the juror and trying to intimidate them and everything. He didn't like that. He got them in check really, really quick. But Judge Arun was upset the other day, right? Because there was a sealed indictment that had got leaked to the press. Now, I don't know if it was TMZ or who it got leaked to, and the prosecution was like, it wasn't us because this wouldn't help our case. So it had to have been the defense, and Judge Arun was upset. He was like, listen, I'm going to confiscate your cell phone. I'm going to confiscate everything, and I want to know because the jurors were getting texts. Are you juror number 6? Are you juror number 7 or whatever? And Judge Arun was like, this is a lot of nonsense. I'm going to hold the lead prosecutor in contempt of court for civil and criminal. So, Agnophilia was like, I don't know anything. That wasn't me. I don't know. And Judge Arun was upset. He was like, take this as a warning. I am not playing because I think he was just tired of Diddy's shenanigans. That Arun, Judge Arun, he was coming with the hammer. He was like, look, I got my gavel. If I need to use it and put you in contempt of court, because, Diddy's trial was just like mistrial. They were trying hard to get that mistrial because I think that the prosecution, they spent a lot of money. If you get a mistrial, I think they could either dismiss the case or they could run it back again. They probably gonna hold him in jail and run him back again. And then hold him for maybe 2-3 years. And then maybe that way 47 won't be here and there won't be a pardon. There's supposedly no witnesses, which is kind of crazy. I could be wrong, guys. I'm just trying to keep up. So today they had mentioned today in court about a female mule. Who do you think the female mule is? Who do you think she is? You think she's a public figure? I think I have an idea who it might be, but I don't want to say it. Let me know in the comments. Put in the comments who you think the female mule is. And if I agree with you, I'll write that I agree. There is a female mule. So we know Jurors 6 was kicked off because he lied about living in the Bronx. He wasn't living in the Bronx. He was living in Jersey. So I think they were watching all these jurors. He was overzealous, wanted to be on the trial. He was 41 years old. I think he was a correction officer. And then he was living with his girlfriend in Jersey, but said he lived with some cousins in the Bronx. But then he did an interview. I heard he did an interview. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it was on radio or TV. I don't know. I've been kind of busy. Shout out to all you full-time podcasters. I have so much respect for you full-time podcasters. I am not a full-time podcaster. I'm like a part-time, it's just like I'll be busy doing other things. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that do you believe that a black male from the Bronx, age 41, said, I don't know who Diddy is. I never heard of him. I don't know Sean Combs. I don't listen to Bad Boy Records. I've never heard of Faith, Mary J. Blige, 112, Total, Biggie. I don't know anything. He was saying, you're a black man from the Bronx. You're 41 years old. And you don't know who Diddy, Puff, P. Diddy, Sean. Cut it. So the judge was like, "Yeah, out of here." The prosecution was like, "We're out of here." So then Diddy's defense team came around. They were like, "Oh, well, since the prosecution got to throw a juror off, we want to throw a juror off." So I think that what do you call them? The alternatives. There's an alternative on the case that Diddy like connected with, like nodded, maybe his minions slipped him a little. You know, he likes to bribe witnesses. I don't know, allegedly, right? So I saw what I heard from the last case in '99 and Shine and all the other, people. So, um, what I'm saying is, Diddy, the defense, because the prosecution got to throw off a black man, age 41, from the Bronx. Diddy saw an alternative that he liked, that he connected with. So he's trying to get someone kicked off to get the person on the alternative he liked, but the judge shut it down. He was like, nope, sorry, gotta go. I don't know if it was jury number 7. I don't know if it was a male or female. I don't really know. I don't know if it's a person with the vertigo. Someone had vertigo for the last 2 days and didn't come to court. So now Diddy seems like we got to pull those medical records. Pull the medical records, because if they got vertigo, they're not good enough to sit on the case. I mean, I don't know if you ever had vertigo. It is not fun. It's like being drunk and you didn't drink. You can't drive. You can't walk. Like, you try to go to the bathroom, you gotta be holding the wall. Like, so could you imagine you're in the jury and you watching these FO videos and you listening to the FO videos and all of a sudden your head is getting dizzy. It's like you can't concentrate. Trust me, this case is gonna be the last thing you want to talk about or think about if you have vertigo. So, but Judge Arun shut it down. He was like, nope. Jury came back. Jury's going to stay. We're not kicking anybody off. We have alternatives. We are keeping this trial on time, and we're keeping it moving. They are moving at lightning speed because he wants to keep it on the calendar. So court ended today early at 1 o'clock. They did end early. I think Brandon came in. The juror with the vertigo came back. There could be something called jury nullification, right? Jury nullification. Let me look that up real quick. So, it's guilty, not guilty, hung juror, mistrial, jury nullification. So I was curious how, because I don't really know. I don't have a legal background. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal. I'm none of that. I'm watching this just like you. The only thing, I have a hip hop background. That's it. I have a little bit of a hip hop background. So jury nullification is when the jury acquits the defendant despite believing they violated the law, essentially choosing to disregard the law and its application in a specific case. This happens when jurors this happens because jurors, even if convicted of a defendant's guilt based on the law and evidence, may choose to acquit based on their own sense of justice, morality, or fairness. Here's a more detailed explanation what it is. Jury nullification is the power for the juror to disregard the judge's instructions on the law and to acquit a defendant even when the evidence suggests guilt. Why it happens. Jurors might nullify the law if it believes it's unjust, unfairly applied, or if they disagree with purpose. Not an official right. While not legally sanctioned right, jury nullification is the power juries retain, and courts generally do not instruct jurors on its ability. During the prohibition era, many jurors acquitted individuals accused of alcohol-related offenses, believing laws were unjust. Historical context: the concept of roots of colonial America, where juries sometimes defied British law, according to UMKC Law School. Controversy: jury nullification is a controversial topic, where arguments both for and against it used in the legal system. Some argue that it's necessary government power. Okay, I just want to read that really quickly about jury nullification. There was a couple of cases that we had issues with. We know OJ, what happened. You think guilty, not guilty. They've studied that for a decade. I think Diddy's case, they're going to study that for a decade. Trayvon Martin. I think the jury here in Florida, Trayvon Martin saw a young boy who's innocent, had a hoodie on, had no weapons, and was unalive, right? By George Zimmerman. And I think the jury, seeing this, really wanted to convict, but how the law was written to stand your ground, he got it not guilty. It was tragic, right? And then Zimmerman went on to sell the bang bang that he used to unalive an unarmed teenager. It was just horrible. And another case that, if you follow Kenny, I don't know if you live in Florida. I live in Florida. Casey Anthony. Casey Anthony was crazy. She put her allegedly, daughter in the pet cemetery, and the father, who was a cop, covered it up in chlorophyll, and they caught her on video. She's at Home Depot buying tape and rope, and it was Zanny the nanny. Remember Zanny the nanny? She wanted to go out and party. She was a young mom. She took the bottle. She took the baby's bottle and put Xanax in the baby's bottle and gave it to her. And it was Zanny the nanny. This is what was in the court documents. But whatever happened, the jury, I don't know if it was an all Caucasian jury. I don't know. She's a Caucasian female. Um, she was facing life like Diddy. I think they had a hard time convicting. I'm not saying that they overcharged her, but sometimes jurors have a hard time. Like you have to have that. You have to carry that weight that I gave someone life or I gave somebody the death penalty. I don't envy any juror. I would not want to be a juror because I'm very biased, but it's a hard thing, and they couldn't convict her. She got off. She got nothing. All the evidence. Anyway, so not to run off a tangent, let's stay on topic. That's jury nullification. So I was curious. So I hear that the juror had a question for the judge. They asked the judge, "What is coercion?" Coercion. They wanted to know coercion. I heard, which I thought this was completely diabolical work, completely diabolical, that I don't even know how to say this and stay within the community guidelines, but I'm going to try my best. That when there was 9 videos, FO videos. Out of the 9, the jury watched 3 with headphones on. And from what I'm hearing, allegedly, one of those videos with Cassie, and I think it was either the Punisher or Antoine or whatever, that she was incoherent. Let's just say that. So I was like, what juror could watch this? Because where's the consent? If you're incoherent, you're not moved, or you're not awake, or you sleep, or you're, in the G hole, K hole, whatever holes that they go into. I don't know. How could you consent? So I thought that was interesting as well. So they wanted to know about coercion. And I think the judge by next week or the end of next week, they're going to give them the instructions, the juror instructions on how to deliberate. And I hear the jury instructions are 137 pages. Man, let me tell you, this is like being in school. And this is just layman, everyday people. This is a nurse, a physician assistant, someone's a deli worker. A couple of people are retired. I'm like, they gotta go through 100. I would be there with my chat GPT. I would pull up PDF search. I'd be like, I think sometimes when they come with a verdict fast in 24 hours, I think that means they already made up their mind. But remember, the judge is like, show me your work. You just can't be like guilty life or guilty on essay or transportation, 15 years, minimum 1 count. You have to show your work. The judge is going to be like, okay, you came down with a not guilty. Why? What didn't we prove? What did we prove? But what's crazy is that I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think if the jury came back and they're like, not guilty, 5 counts, not guilty. Rico, not guilty. 2 counts of prostituting, not guilty. 2 counts of transportation, not guilty. I think the judge, tell me if I'm wrong, I think the judge could come back and be like, oh, no, you're dead to rights. The court proved their case, and therefore, I'm going to sentence him anyway. Can that happen, or am I making this up, or am I misunderstanding something? Anyway, so we talked about that there was a sealed indictment that was leaked. If you look on the documents when the lawsuit went out, it said Diddy defendant #1 sealed. He's #1 means there's more co-defendants that I think at the end of the case, they're going to open them up and read them. If they didn't come in and flip, we all know who flipped because they testified. If they didn't, they're going to open it up and read it. Do you guys think, I have my little notes, I'm going through my notes. Do you guys think, I gotta talk to you guys out here on social media because my friends, and my family, they're like, they don't even want to hear no more Diddy talk. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear about it. So I'm like, oh my God, talk to the universe. Do you guys think that Diddy should take the stand? Should he take the stand and just speak his truth? You know, R. Kelly, when R. Kelly got sentenced, no, when he was on court, R. Kelly, you know, he said something that stuck out with me to this day. He said a lot, but one thing stuck out. He said, "This is all I know. I grew up in the streets of Chicago. I didn't I didn't have a father. It was just all the PIMPs. You know, I just saw all the PIMPs, and they would do that to women, and they would um, hang out with young girls, right? So he was like, that's like, have sympathy on me. Like, that's all I didn't know anything else. And I'm like, and I don't know if he's literate. He can't read. He can't write. I think he dropped out of school. He was singing in the train station trying to make for coins. You know, should Diddy take this stand and just say, look, listen, look, let me tell you something about me. I grew up without a father in Harlem. That was bang bang, because he became a federal informant allegedly, right? And then my mother went on to do whatever she had to do to get him in private school, right? Maybe she was having these ladies of the night parties, allegedly, so I heard, right? To get some extra money. And he witnessed this as a child. You know, same like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson would say, oh, Joe Jackson took me around to the club so my brothers can perform. He was 10 years old. And he was in, they were in bars and in clubs that were, women were, taking off their clothes. And that kind of traumatized him as a child. So what did he see as a kid in his mother's house? And then he went on to Mount St. Michael. And the years he was in high school at Mount St. Michael, there were several cases where the pastors were um, being inappropriate with boys. You know, look it up. Just go Google it. And then the mother kind of grooms him for hip hop, and he meets Clyde Davis, and he gets $60 million, and he's like 21 years old, and his ego's like, and on and on and on, right? Should he take the stand? What do you guys think? Should he take the stand? I know the lawyers are gonna be like, no, 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 no. But if you're in a prison, if you're in a cell, a 5x5 cell, you get 3 showers a week. You're eating fried corn dogs, and you can only go outside for air 1 hour a day. And you have not one, not two, but three mansions, on the other side, and 50 million cash, and maybe half a million in in your portfolio, right? Do you take the stand? I don't think they're gonna let them. So let me know what you guys think. I gotta run real quick. I'm gonna jump off and I'm gonna come back on because I definitely want to talk about this Fat Joe and the Terror Squad, which is crazy.